to Tell Me About It. This is the show where I interview various professionals to get insight into their daily lives on the job. I'm your host, Josiah Smith, and today I have a special guest, Michaela Dye, who is a project manager at Aerospec. So Michaela, thank you for coming on. I appreciate your time. Go ahead and give me just like a real quick 2-minute elevator pitch for your job.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So my role as a project manager, I pretty much oversee a lot of engineering projects. Our customers will come to us with a kind of a set of requirements, either if it's like an assembly process they want to do or some inspections on something that they're producing. And we will take their requirements and go through and do a whole design. We'll do a lot of the manufacturing and building of the system in our house. We'll do all the testing and deliver a final product to the customer. It's really fun to be involved in that entire process to really see something go from nothing to something.
Yeah.
And I pretty much am in charge of managing all of that, making sure all of the teams know what they need to do, make sure they're meeting all the requirements. If there's any impediments, I'm the one that helps try to solve them for them.
Okay.
Just so we can, and at the end of the day, produce a really quality product for our customer, and that they're happy at the end of the day.
Okay, awesome. So tell me what sorts of products, and I know you mentioned before that there's got to be some vagueness here in some of the things you talk about, but generally speaking, what sorts of products are we producing?
A little bit of everything. We're pretty much involved in every industry. Some of our most, I guess, most frequent ones right now are the defense and medical industry.
Okay.
So they'll come to us sometimes with different products, and we'll go ahead and design a system for them to help them manufacture or inspect something. We've done a lot too in food packaging, automotive industry. We've done a lot of aerospace type things as well, and it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
We're also involved actually right now a lot in the tech and semiconductor industries.
Oh, okay.
And so just producing anything for their needs. And it's really exciting to really be involved in that wide variety because you get to learn something new every day from all of these opportunities.
I imagine. Yeah.
And no day is the same. The technology we use to kind of do all of the automation is similar, but you just apply it in so many different ways. Yeah.
That's really interesting. So what is your background in?
So I got my degrees in mechanical engineering.
Okay.
I got my bachelor's and master's from ASU at the Polytechnic campus.
Okay.
And I actually started out in mechanical engineering at Aerospec.
Okay.
So I started out doing a lot of the mechanical drawings so we could do manufacture all the parts we're making. And then I eventually moved up into more of like the critical design of the systems where I built or I designed machines myself.
Okay.
I probably did about 6 or 7 of those before I moved into a systems engineering type role. And so that's more of a analytical type of engineering. So I really go through and do an analysis on some of the requirements. If any of the teams needed a little bit more thorough like calculations or anything on the engineering side of things, I would also help with that type of stuff. A lot of the technical writing. And that's what I did before I moved into this project management role here in the last year or so.
Okay. So how long have you been with the company?
Actually, the 30th will be 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay. Awesome.
so
Cool. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. There's been a lot of changing around, but it's been great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really good growth path. I've learned so much in the past few years.
Yeah, that's super cool. I've joked before on this show that I almost feel like I could do just an engineering podcast because there's such a wide world of things, and even in your own experience, you've gone a couple different ways. So, cool. Well, tell me a little bit about then your position kind of on the organization chart. So I know you said that was kind of your path to where you are now, but in your current position, who reports to you? Who do you report to? Where do you fit in the whole scheme?
So on a project level basis, basically all of the engineers kind of report to me to give updates. I'm not their direct manager though. We have department managers that are in charge of all of the different individuals. I'm really just managing the project side of things and making sure everything kind of goes together. Okay. So.
And then who would you report to?
I report to, so my boss is the president of the company.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yep. So he oversees we're like a project management, almost a sales type of department. Although we don't usually necessarily classify ourselves as sales, because we're more so focused on the projects themselves. A lot of the times the customers are the ones coming to us. We're not out there going actively and seeking all of those sales. It's usually a lot of word by mouth. People come to us and say, hey, is this something you can do? And then that's when we start looking into saying, oh, yes, yeah, we can do this with your requirements. And we start giving them the quotes and the prices for everything.
Gotcha. And is your mindset typically like, if someone wants something, we're going to say yes and then figure it out? Or do you have like a set of like, if they want this, then we direct them to somewhere else?
We usually try to look at the requirements before we're like, oh yeah, sure, we can do that. Because there's a lot of stuff. There are companies out there that can do it better.
Okay.
And sometimes we do say, hey, you should go to this company for this type of process. But we do like to try to keep as much as we can, of course.
Sure.
But
but
yeah.
Interesting. Okay. And then tell me a little bit about collaboration in your role. So who are you working side by side with mostly, or do you at all? Is it mostly just kind of lone wolf in it, managing the project?
Kind of a lot of really everyone.
Okay.
I really rely on my teams to make sure that, all the project stuff is happening correctly in the right process. But I also lean sometimes on some of the other project owners, say, hey, I haven't done this before. Do you have some guidance on what I should do next?
Okay, yeah.
And I lean a lot on my boss, too. I mean, he has several years of experience in this. And usually when I don't have the answer, he at least has an idea of, where I should go next for it.
Yeah, okay. So how many project managers are there?
Officially, I believe there are about 6 of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it one location that the company operates out of?
Yes. But we do have one employee who works in Tucson and kind of helps with some of our customers down there as well.
Okay.
He works remotely, but we're primarily based here in Chandler.
Okay. Interesting. Cool. So kind of paint a picture then. You said manufacturing and design, like a lot of that stuff is just done in-house. Kind of give me the, as specific as you're able to be, an example of like a customer comes to you and says, hey, we want this thing built. Can you give me an example of that process from start to finish as much as you'd be involved in it?
Okay, sure. I guess, let me see. Let's say for some reason we have like a microphone or something. And there's a bunch of different components here. So let's say maybe we have like a little block down here and, the base piece and everything. So we would take this and kind of analyze all of the components to see if we can actually automate like assembly of something like that. Okay. So let's just say if we have this block here and this maybe like tube part here, we could find different ways to feed these into the system. And if we can find a reliable way there's a really good chance that you can automate it. Okay. And so we would go through and kind of do some preliminary research sometimes with so let's say maybe I'm using like a bowl feeder or something to feed these into the system. You dump a bunch of parts in it and it's able to singulate them one by one. Okay. So you can actually pick them and install them on the assembly. Yeah. Sometimes we'll run tests like that up front just to make sure that, hey, yeah, we're comfortable with this. We can proceed with design, and we'll design around all of your different components, making sure all the tolerances are properly accounted for, and we could have a bunch of maybe like robots or grippers and come around and pick up all these pieces, assemble them. Okay, yeah. But yeah, we'll have our mechanical engineers. They'll do all of that design. They'll work closely with our controls engineering department, make sure that they have all of the control items that they need to actually make the system work. And then it falls into our software group, and they'll go through and actually make the magic happen, make everything work. Okay, I don't really understand a lot of what the software team does, but they are amazing, and they always come through at the end of the day. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, that's a little bit of what we do.
So give me a sense of the scale of so you said you can automate the process of making this mic. What's like the larger scale things that you're able to work on?
It really depends on the customer. There are some systems where we have assembled something that's like, I don't know, maybe 4 feet long, 3 feet wide. A lot of the times we're doing is really smaller components. Okay. So like, I'm trying to think of something that I could give an example of without being too specific. Sure. Let's go with maybe a door lock on a door or something. Okay. And there's maybe 5 components in there. We'll have an assembly process. Robot will come through, maybe put a spring or something in, and put a bolt in and to secure that or something. It really just depends on the customer.
Yeah, that's really interesting that there's not, from what I'm gathering anyway, there's not it's not oh, we only work in electronics, we only work in hardware for locks. You really will take on. So do you have relationships with different suppliers for the materials that you need, or is that on the customer to say we'll send you all this stuff, we just want you to put it together.
Yeah, there's a lot of suppliers we work closely with
Okay.
that sell a lot of industrial type components. Like we work a lot with like Fanuc robots.
Okay.
Keyence is usually a really good supplier of sensors. We do a lot with like Banner for like buttons and other light controls. But if there are specific vendors that our customers want us to use, we'll do that as well.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, it's their design. We give all of our IP for everything that we design back to the customer. It's really truly their machine at the end of the day.
Yeah, you're just so you're just primarily figuring out how to put it together the most efficient and speedy way.
Yep.
Is like the core of what y'all do.
Yep.
So who are y'all competing with in that space, or is that kind of a
There's a lot of different companies that do
Okay.
kind of what we do. I'm trying to think of all of their names.
You don't have to name necessarily. I was just wondering, like,
There
because
are-
that's something that most people don't think about. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think about what all went into assembling this
Yeah.
microphone. I just know that I bought it off of Amazon
Yeah.
and it works, right?
Yeah.
So I think typically we would assume that stuff is done overseas, and so then hearing that it's like right
Yeah.
here in our backyard is kind of surprising.
Yeah. There is a lot of that. I mean, sometimes we will ship machines overseas, but
Okay.
a lot of our customers do keep some of it here.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just depends on what they're wanting to do.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So then, kind of paint a picture for me. Let's just go through. Like a Monday through Friday work week. Kind of give me
Okay.
your broad sense schedule. Like this is what my calendar looks like,
Yep.
and then we can kind of dice it up from there.
Yeah, pretty much every day is a little different
Okay.
because I just oversee so much. Usually I'll get to work around like 6:30, and usually I use that first 30 minutes where not everyone's at work yet, just to really start trying to plan out my day. Once we start at 7, we basically have like 10-minute department scrum meetings.
Okay.
And that basically will go through what every person on the team's expecting to go through for that day, what projects they're working on. If there's anything that they're struggling with, they'll bring it up in that meeting, say, hey, I need a little extra help here, or I'm going to need a little bit more time to make sure that this is fully sorted out.
And are you leading that meeting? Like that's your
No, so we have one of our mechanical engineering department head. He'll lead most of those meetings. So he acts as that Scrum Master role right
Gotcha.
now.
Is that an acronym or is that just the term used
That's
for?
just the term we use for it's like Scrum Agile type planning.
Gotcha.
We
Yeah.
usually like to try to plan things within like 2-week increments. So we have goals at those ends of those 2 weeks, and we really can kind of adjust where we're at on the project.
Gotcha. Okay. And I'm sorry, did you say that's a daily meeting that y'all have? every
Yes,
morning? Okay.
yes, that's a daily meeting. And after we move through those, we'll have individual meetings for the specific projects. And so if you have something that, hey, I need a little bit more detail here, we'll go through that in that meeting.
Gotcha.
And that's where we'll also kind of track the tasks that everyone's working on, kind of give our estimates, so kind of have a little bit more accountability on the team.
Yeah.
And just make sure that we're going to be able to hit our milestones.
Yeah.
The rest of the day, it really depends on kind of what's happening. I do have a lot of customer meetings throughout the week. There's some days I'll have none, some days I'll have 4.
Yeah.
And they all vary in length. There's some days I have meetings literally all
Just wall
day,
to wall.
to
Okay.
wall. But I also try to participate in as many of our design reviews with our teams too.
Okay.
Really just kind of have an extra set of eyes on the project, make sure we're hitting those requirements, give feedback if I see any, ask the questions that people might not be thinking of during the design.
Yeah.
And really trying to get another perspective on that.
Does your like degree in engineering and experience in engineering, was that a requirement to have the management position, or it just really helps a lot?
It really helps a lot. Actually, all of our project managers we've hired from engineers in the company. I think that really works out well because you've seen how the workflow works.
Yeah.
And you kind of understand that. And it really
Probably some
helps
intrinsic respect too from the people that you're managing. They're
Yeah.
like, you actually know what you're talking about.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So there's a lot of that. When our projects get near to completion and we're in that testing phase, I like to, I guess not every project owner does this, but I like to go down there and actually help test on the system myself.
Cool. Yeah.
Because that not only helps me better understand the customer requirements, but I also can kind of check in to make sure that they're being hit.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I think that really helps with my customer relationships too. Just saying, I kind of know what you're talking about here. If you're having a problem, I can help guide them through, maybe not necessarily have to pull my software team back in.
Right. Yeah. And I imagine your employees too probably see that as a big bonus. Like they'd like for you to come and be down there with them. Have you noticed, like, does that stress them out when it's like, oh, Michaela's coming to work on this with us? Or is it like they want you to come in, give feedback, and make sure that everything's set?
I think a little bit of both.
Okay.
Because if I notice something wrong on the machine, I will log it as a bug in our tracking system. And they're like, oh, no, it's another bug. But I think at the end of the day, that they appreciate it too. Because I'm, I have that visibility. I understand, where they're at on the project.
Yeah, and build some comfortability with them as well, some rapport. Yep. Okay, cool. All right, so keep going with the calendar. Sorry, we went off on a rabbit trail there. So meetings is a big chunk of it, and then what else are you doing?
A lot of it, I guess, if I have a customer come to me, I'll be in that quoting process. So there'll be a lot of basically what I have to do is I'll get hour estimates from all my teams on designs. Sometimes we'll have them create a preliminary concept to go with a proposal for that quote. And then I'll go through and give some estimates on materials, manufacturing costs, and really just group that into a quote to provide to our customer. Sometimes I'll be involved in helping write that proposal too. That's actually a lot of what I did when I was in my systems engineering role.
Okay.
So I sometimes kind of like going back and doing that proposal type writing. Sometimes I'll also have my team if I maybe don't have the bandwidth to do that.
Okay. And do you have a software that you use to help with that proposal stuff, or is it just like Excel spreadsheets?
It's just
and
Word.
Pen and paper?
Yeah, it's Word.
Nice. Okay, awesome.
Yep, Word, and usually it'll accompany with a SolidWorks model image. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But,
so then you work on the quotes, and then what else are you doing?
There's a lot of schedule updates all the time, just making sure we're still on track. If something needs to be adjusted, we'll go back and look at that. And a lot of it's just customer emails and just making sure we all are on the same page and are happy with the progress that's being made.
So you spend more time like interacting with and preparing for the customer than you do for the employees that are doing the manufacturing, or you kind of mix it up?
It's pretty much a pretty good mix.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And then how much do you so you're project managing over the individual projects, but then you said there's also department heads for each of the things. So
Yes.
So where is that where are the lines that are drawn between where you step in and like notice things, make corrections, versus the heads of those departments making those corrections and working with the employees there?
Yeah, usually it's so I'll usually kind of always group in the project heads if there is something. We really try to make sure that they are okay with us saying, hey, I need more time on this project, or he can move on to something else. We have like weekly scheduling meetings actually with all those department heads too, just to try to give them updates at where we're at. Everyone is really flexible. And so I think that's one of the really good things about our company is we understand that, hey, things don't always go right. We need to have that flexibility built in there. Yeah. And so it's just making sure you have good communication with them.
Yeah, gotcha. So you said that you will plan things out in like 2-week increments. Is 2 weeks or not necessarily 2 weeks, but do y'all have a standard of time? Like if a customer gives you a project, you will always say like, we want to get this project done in X weeks, months, however long, or is it like some projects may take a couple weeks and some may take much longer?
Yeah, it really depends on the project. A lot of it'll depend on lead times. There's some components we can get really fast within a couple weeks. There's others, like I have a custom system that we're ordering right now, and it's going to take like 18 weeks to get here. So as long as you have that planning up front, you can really tell the customer, hey, this is really what we're expecting. And it's just when you go through that scheduling process, it's really good to actually talk with all the engineers, just saying, hey, I'm going to hold you accountable to like maybe 4 weeks for your complete design on this project. Yeah. Is that doable for you?
Gotcha.
And that's really what it takes to build those schedules up front.
Yeah. Okay. So how often then are you having to have hard conversations with employees where they like say, like, yeah, 4 weeks, boss, no problem. I can make it happen. And then you're like, how often, well, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but what are those hard conversations like when you get to that point where you're like, hey, I told you I'd hold you accountable, and here we are 4 weeks on?
Yep, they're hard. they're hard.
Yeah.
Actually, we had one this week where we thought we were going to do a customer buy off the following week. And we ran into some problems on the system. We needed to change how we were doing something to make sure, we were giving a good product at the end of the day. We were hitting all those requirements.
Yeah.
And so honestly, that conversation was harder to deal with the customer than my internal team.
Okay.
Just saying, hey, we need to slip the schedule by about a week.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's for everyone's benefit.
Yeah. You want the product to be what you want or not.
Yes. So, they're not easy conversations at all.
And how frequently does that happen? Like, is it pretty typical or not uncommon for projects to end up slipping in schedule, like you say, or is that like a couple times a year kind of thing?
Just a couple of times a year. We try to minimize it as much as possible, but there are unexpected things that pop up, and sometimes they're just unavoidable.
Yeah. That's interesting. And then, so what role do you play in? Let's say there is an employee who maybe a couple times has made a mistake or whatever. How involved are you in that process of like, hey, you're not where we'd like you to be. You're probably not where you want to be yourself. Yeah. How involved are you in getting them where they need to be?
I'm usually not involved in that process very much. It's mainly from like the department head type perspective. Sometimes I will be asked to hey, can you write something up just on kind of what you observed, just to get like an independent perspective on something. I don't usually have to do that very often, but yeah, it's usually just the department heads.
Okay, cool. I'm curious, actually, what made you want to move into that project manager role and kind of leave the hands-on engineering stuff behind?
Yeah, so I technically still haven't totally left the engineering stuff hands off and everything. I'm still so involved in that process. But I really think it was just my boss inspiring me that I could do, so much more than what I was doing. I think his encouragement really helped me, see that, I can keep growing. I can keep doing more and more. And it was really helpful.
So just just a desire to grow and evolve. Yeah. That's cool. Okay. So then try and kind of paint a picture for me. Let's say it's a Tuesday. Kind of in as much detail as you're able to give. Paint the picture of what it looks like when you walk in, start in the parking lot basically, and take me all the way into your office and show me what you're looking at, your computer screens, programs, all that stuff.
Sounds good. Yeah. So I'll walk straight in, go right to my desk upstairs. I have a nice office with a door. Sometimes the door is always closed. Sometimes it's not.
Nice.
Depends on how much I've got going on that day.
Yeah.
But I'll usually just start by opening up my email, see if there's anything urgent, and really just start trying to plan, hey, what do I need to get done today? What was left open from yesterday? And then I'll go through all of those meetings. And then usually if I have a project that's out being built on the floor, I'll go down after all those meetings, really just try to see the status myself, ask if there's any software engineers on it at that time. Hey, is there anything you need? Do you need help with testing? Sometimes I'll go and help them do that testing. And sometimes I'll just sit down there and just, keep working on my work. Usually it's a lot of emails. Again, it could be like that quoting through Excel. It really just depends on the day.
Okay. Are those meetings done in person conference room, or is it virtual?
So the department scrums are done in person. There are a couple people that attend online. It's a stand-up meeting at a whiteboard. We actually track a lot of our stuff on a whiteboard. It just makes it really easy to see it all visually. Yeah. Actually, when we're in the mechanical design of things, every single part we give a part number to that we're designing internally gets a little magnet. And so you get to see those track across the board as we're designing and everything. Once they move off that board and they're ready to manufacture, they go to a whole separate board for the manufacturing team to go through and track.
Okay, cool.
So a lot of that's in person. The project scrums are usually more online because we'll pull up actually Azure DevOps, and that's where we track all of our tasks, all of our bugs. It's really easy just to do that virtually so everyone can see the board at the same time. We're making live updates to it and just getting everyone's feedback on where they're at, if there's any impediments, and really just get the whole team on board for the day.
Okay, cool. You said that's in Azure?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So everybody can access it, and like you said, then does it update in real time, as someone's updating here, you see it? That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then when you talk a little bit about the testing aspect of it, what is that all like virtual testing, or how much of it is actual, like we're going to watch this product go from start to finish and see, talk about that. What does that look like usually?
So it's a lot of on the machine testing. So our systems engineering department that I used to be a part of, they'll usually write the acceptance test plans for these projects. And so it'll go through things like, if you have a power loss scenario and power's just killed your machine, can the machine recover from that? A lot of it's just making sure that the safety features on the system work as intended. So if you hit an emergency stop button, all the motion stops. There's no way an operator could still get injured from anything moving in there if they were to open guard doors or something. A lot of it's product testing to make sure that we are hitting those requirements. So let's say we have an assembly process we're doing, and maybe we're screwing something together and we need to hit a certain torque value. It's making sure that torque value is met. Sometimes, we'll see what it says on the machine, what torque value it gives off, but sometimes we'll also pull off those components and we'll test it manually with a different torque wrench, just as a second verification that it's working. Sometimes it's just making sure that HMI, the screen, has the right functionality and it's doing what we're expecting. And just a lot of the testing is really to identify that we're, one, hitting the requirements, and two, just to find as many bugs as we can before we turn it back over to that customer. Because we don't really want to hand anything like that over if it's not ready.
So in the whole timeline of manufacturing something, how much time is spent in testing before you're like, okay, we're ready to run off as many units as they need?
It really depends on kind of what the system's doing. So we've done some really complex assembly lines, and we've done really small assembly, just like single cell things, even something that could fit on this table. Some of those smaller ones, they take maybe 3-4 weeks. Some of the assembly lines will take months to validate because there's just so much going on. Actually, earlier this year, we did an assembly line. It probably had like, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13 cells. And they all had to interact with each other.
When you say cells, does that mean like step?
Just so when we do something that big, we break them up into cells so they're much more manageable. So like, let's say we have an assembly process again for this mic, and maybe we're just connecting the main structure of it to this connector or something. We would have one cell do that. And it would have a couple probably different stations that would do the actual assembly process, and then inspections to make sure that assembly was done right. And then maybe we can move it to the next cell and attach this structure up here to the base of the microphone. And that would be just for making sure that's all assembles well, and it gets inspected. On our last assembly line, we probably had over 70 different stations across those different cells. And just doing all those checks, making sure everything's manufactured right. And so that line obviously took a lot of time to go through and just really make sure it was testing right, everything was working, because there's just so much involved. So
then how involved do you tend to be when it's that? Do you put maybe more time towards that size of a project, that scale, versus some of the smaller ones? You're like, I can trust my team to handle that pretty quick.
It just really depends on, who's available in the schedule. We will have sometimes a lot of our other engineers do the testing. I might not be as involved. It just depends on the project.
Gotcha.
So
how many jobs or assignments can y'all handle at one time, or do y'all do like one project at a time?
A lot of our engineers are focused on maybe just a couple of projects at a time. I think I right now have 9 projects I'm managing. So it's a lot to keep track of.
And those are all like actively in the process of testing,
all in different states. Some of them are in the early phases of design. Some are just completing that design process, and we're just in a kind of a waiting period for manufacturing, and just waiting for everything to be procured. I have a couple that are in that testing type phase where we're just waiting to see, if there's any other bugs we need to address before we validate or do that validation test with the customer. And then some of them we just shipped off to. And so we're just kind of in that waiting period of, hey, is there anything else you need before we fully close this project out? So
interesting. Okay, cool. So then walk me through a nightmare day scenario.
Oh gosh. Some of those are when like a customer decides to change a requirement on you,
Okay.
just kind of mid-project, and you really have to figure out what you need to do. Some of that is, it could be like a total redesign of what you've already made. Sometimes we'll have to do like a change order to really make sure we have enough funding to implement whatever requirement change that they want. Yeah, usually it's just the day where something in our design just changes dramatically, and it has a big impact on pretty much every team.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
So then conversely, tell me about a perfect day. What's that look like?
Perfect day. That's usually just when, a design review goes well with a customer. Also, our internal design reviews go well. And, at the end of the day, we're like, okay, this is just a design that's complete. We're happy with it. And we can move on to the next project.
Yeah.
So
yeah, nice.
those are always good win days.
Yeah. You're like, great. Everything went as expected.
Yep. Also testing days too. I mean, just when the system's performing, as it should be, it's meeting remarkable OEEs. That's usually what some of our customers track to use on our systems. Overall equipment effectiveness, I think, is what it stands for, and it just really looks at kind of the performance of the machine. How well it's producing parts that kind of impacts with like the quality of the products that are coming off. We always strive to be in the high 90s for quality and make sure there's not anything being rejected. Of course, there's certain things, if the parts that go into the machine aren't good to begin with, there's nothing we can do about, what comes out there. But a lot of it too is just making sure the equipment is up and running, so that accounts for some of the availability of the machine, and just making sure, we're not down all the time because like some sensor broke or something. It's not in a good position and it breaks frequently.
Yeah.
We really try to design our systems to make sure that, they'll have a long lifetime.
Yeah.
They'll be running for years, even if you are running them in a factory 24/7.
Cool. Yeah, cool. So then talk a little bit about like the tools or software that you use to make those sorts of projections, or is that again just math and Excel?
It'll depend a lot on just kind of all the projects and what they need. During the design phase, we have our systems teams actually do a lot of timing charts.
Okay.
And so we have some good estimates on what like an actuator moving back and forth, depending on its size and length. We have good estimates on how much time we're expecting for that.
Okay.
Like gripper functionality, if we're trying to pick up a part, we'll put in stuff like that. So we'll go through and do a really detailed process of what every, motion or station in an equipment is doing. To really give the customer, hey, this is what your system is going to have cycle time wise. These are how many parts we expect you to produce in the system a day.
Yeah.
And then we have additional calculations for how much we think, the equipment might shut down. Of course, sometimes maybe in like a bowl feeder type situation where you're loading parts in, it could get jammed.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing you can do to really prevent that. Just sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
And so we throw that into our equations too, just to make sure that, we design the system in a way that we're going to allow them to make a really good amount of product.
Yeah, we can rely on. And is that what you're like processing those equations through is that existing software, and you just plug the numbers in and see what you get?
Yeah, it's stuff we've developed over the years.
Oh, you have? Okay,
yes.
cool.
So a lot of it's Excel-based type calculations, but they've proven really reliable with everything.
It's all built in-house though.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. So tell me something that you experience or observe in your world that most people are like unaware of or oblivious to.
So I think there's a lot for what I do. I mean, I get to see how products are made every day. And it's fun to know all of that, because I'll just see like maybe like a food packaging product that maybe we've helped do like a cutting process on, like, hey, I know the backstory of that.
Yeah.
Or sometimes with some of our medical customers, they'll have devices and that, that save lives. And it's like, I had a part in that. I know how that goes together.
Yeah.
And, And it's kind of fun to know all of that too, because you're like, I know that product was made well because I know the machines that it was made on, which is always cool.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's always fun too, just to see how all the different departments work together too. I think that's one of the things I enjoy the most about my job, is just seeing what everyone gets to do daily.
Yeah.
Because I learn so much from all of my teams all the time, just different perspectives on how to look at things in a project, and just, all the incredible things they do every day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. So what's like a piece of advice, or like one thing, I phrase it this way, what's one thing you wish you knew when you started on this trajectory to where you're at now?
Yeah. That's a good question. There's a lot of things I probably would have recommended my younger self. I think probably the most important one was just not to be afraid to try something new.
Okay.
I feel like that's one of the things that I've learned the most, especially in this past year. Going out of your comfort zone, it's not fun in the moment, but it leads to so much growth, so much opportunity.
Yeah.
And I wish I would have, tried to explore more when I was younger, just really get a good feel for what's out there in the world, and what I'm capable of doing.
Yeah. And it sounds like you had somebody who kind of pushed you, like your manager is like, hey, you need to try.
Yeah.
You might not want to, but you need to.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. Okay, well then tell me, so now in your current situation, and it can be directly work related or not, but tell me what gets you out of bed in the morning.
Just the ability to learn something new every day, really.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things I treasure the most, is just the opportunity to learn. Because sometimes it comes from unexpected places too, and it's fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It keeps me going.
Yeah, good. Love that. Cool. Well, that's Michaela Dye, who's a project engineer at Aerospec here in the Valley. I appreciate you taking the time, and thank you for telling me about it.
Yeah, thank you.